Hoy vamos a hablar de la importancia de hablar varios idiomas, específicamente porque tienes que aprender español. One of the problems of learning various languages is sometimes the wrong words come out. So today we're going to talk about the importance of being bilingual and specifically why you need to learn Spanish. What's up everyone, I'm Jeff and welcome to Mr. Thelen. On this channel, I'm going to be sharing with you everything that I'm doing as I'm trying to reach my goals and having a little bit of fun along the way. If you want to follow along on this journey, I'd encourage you to subscribe to my channel. Alright, so today we're going to talk about why it's important to be bilingual, multilingual, and specifically a lot of this video is kind of targeted to a US audience of why in the US it's really important to learn Spanish right now. And so growing up in Michigan, didn't really hear a lot of other languages, didn't think it was very important. Yeah, I took 2 years of Spanish in high school, but it wasn't until, living in New York years later that I decided to really put an effort into it and, spent years in Latin America and now am completely fluent in Spanish. Still speak with, a very American accent, but can understand everything and, get my point across whenever I want to. But what I see in the US is, a lot of people don't have passports, don't speak any other languages. And so what I want to talk about today are a lot of the benefits of being bilingual and why specifically it's important to learn Spanish. And so this isn't something that's important just for Americans. I mean, living in Latin America too, I think there's a big need for people to learn other languages, especially English. Right, Laura? Vamos a practicar inglés todo el día mañana?
Okay, solo si me invitas el almuerzo.
So if you didn't understand that, time to learn Spanish. But so why don't we get into some of the benefits to learning another language? All right, so why don't we get into the benefits? So the first one I want to talk about today is the financial or professional benefits. So I've seen a bunch of different studies that basically say you could earn from 2 to 20% more if you speak another language. And not to mention the benefits of if you do speak another language, you're working for a large company, maybe there's the benefit of actually having the opportunity to work abroad and be sent someplace else where you can actually immerse yourself in a new culture. And then also I think for a lot of industries where maybe you're working with people in other countries or working with certain workforces in the US that only speak Spanish. If you can be fluent in Spanish, you can communicate better with the people that you work with, which should help you move along and be promoted more quickly. All right, so number 2 on the list is bilingual people are smarter. So there's been a whole bunch of studies that have shown that people that are bilingual have better executive function. So what that means is they're better at problem solving and other mentally demanding tasks. They can multitask better as well as have better attention span. And for children that grow up bilingual, generally at age 3, 4, and 5, they may struggle a little bit more because they're processing everything in 2 different languages. But by age 7, they've caught up and are exceeding their peers. And if you don't believe what I'm saying in this or any of the other points, I'm going to put links down below in the description to where I found a lot of this information. So there's also health benefits to being bilingual. So what studies have shown is that there's faster recovery from strokes, later onset of Alzheimer's or dementia, and lower stress levels. So benefit number 4 to being bilingual is that you can really enjoy and immerse yourself more when you travel. And so this is especially true of Spanish. So there's 20 countries that Spanish is the native language. And so all the Americas besides Brazil, essentially, and Canada speak Spanish. And so there's all these different countries that have very different cultures, from going and having a nice steak and wine and tango in Argentina to mezcal and tacos and mariachi bands in Mexico. And so there's a bunch of different cultures to explore if you love traveling. And I can promise you from visiting most of these countries that you'll enjoy it much more if you can communicate to everyone that you meet in Spanish. So benefit number 5 is actually being able to communicate better with people in the US. And so I've had this happen on a handful of occasions where one was I was running through the airport in Miami and asked one of the guys that worked there, hey, where's gate 34? And he's like, gate what? 4? And I was like, ¿Dónde está puerta 34? He's like, sí, está ahí. And also happened something similar with the delivery person in New York. Or kind of a more fun thing is I've been in situations where I'm at a store, I'm at some place, and I hear a group of people that maybe talk to me in English, but they're speaking amongst each other in Spanish. And to just be able to see their attitude and everything change when they realize that I speak Spanish. And so 1 is kind of practical reasons, and 2, just getting to know people and showing that you put in the effort to speak another language can, I think, really make a big benefit to your communication with people actually within the US. So benefit number 6 is actually understanding pop culture in the US today. And so more and more from shows, movies, music, everything. You see this mix of English and Spanish, or parts in Spanish mixed into even U.S. programs. And so one of the most notable programs was Narcos. And so I was actually living in Colombia at the time and came back to the U.S., and it was the only thing every single person I knew in the U.S. wanted to talk to me about. And so with that show, it was like half English and half Spanish. It was actually one of the most binge-watched first shows on Netflix. And the thing with that is I could only imagine having to watch the show for my friends in Latin America that only speak Spanish, or my friends in the U.S. that only speak English, of having to spend half of the time of the show reading the subtitles. It's much more enjoyable to be able to watch a program and just pay attention and hear what everyone's saying versus spending the time reading what's on the screen. And so for that show, if you can speak both languages and just enjoy it. Also, if you watch Modern Family, I don't know how many times Sofia Vergara, goes on a rant of something in Spanish, and it's not something they put the subtitles for, and so there's things you miss out on. Also, I'm not sure if you know the song Despacito, but it's the most watched video on YouTube, and so I don't know how many of you looked up the words or translation to what it was saying in English, but that was something that's the most seen thing on YouTube. On top of that, like just recently, probably there's 3 songs that I've heard that are a mix of English and Spanish, and so it's J-Lo has a new song, Dinero. Cardi B, I Like It is another song that's in English and Spanish, and Jaden Smith and Nicky have a song, Icon, which is in both languages. And so all these things are part of the U.S. culture, and I don't think it's going anywhere. It's only going to increase. And so if you want to be able to enjoy what's going on, it's important to be able to understand both languages. And one thing I forgot to mention, I don't know how many of you remember as you were a kid and your parents used to spell stuff out so you wouldn't understand. Well, imagine if you and your brother both speak Spanish and your parents don't. And so my brother and I speak to each other in Spanish when we don't want our parents to understand. So there's that side benefit. All right, so that's it for today's video. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up. If I'm motivated with this video and you want to start learning Spanish, write Español in the comment section, and I'll do a video on how I learned Spanish. Or Español, if you can't find the ñ, the N with the line over it, that's okay too. So if you haven't done so yet, you can subscribe to my channel up here, and if you want to watch other content of mine, there's a couple of videos alongside here. Until next time, bye bye.